What is going on, everybody? Lukey Boy is here. So today we are going to be talking about reveals of collections or projects and how I look at them, how I play that side of things. Because when things are unrevealed and then revealed, there's lots of different dynamics at play which interact differently, such as the floor price changes. What do you do with the rarer ones? What do you do with the sort of common ones that you might get? So I'm just going to basically talk over that so you get a feel for what I do and some options that you can use in the future for yourself. So I had two reveals last night. I had these two beanies and I had these 5 surreal estates. Yeah, you can see here these 2 and these 5. These 5, as I've mentioned before, I actually got by holding this. So I had 5 of these. And you get to mint 5 because I have 5 of these. I get mint 5, pretty simple. And then I'll also get to mint 5 avatars and 5 vehicles. So this is like the first 5. Of course, I can go ahead and sell these. I can go ahead and sell this later if the price is right. But obviously, we're just talking about the reveal side of things. So that's how I got those anyway. And these were something I did a video on the other day, just talking about what happened with them. And I'll just talk about what's going on. So ultimately, let's start with these 2, and then I'll walk through these, even though some of the things that I talk about in here will be relevant, of course, for here. Obviously, I have more options here, more to play with in a way, like I have more chance of getting a rare one, for example. When you only have 1 or 2, obviously you've got less chance. If you only have 1 and you get one that isn't that rare, for example, you got less probability. Of course, you could get a rare with the one you get, but with more options, there's more chance to get a bit of a mix between rare and common. So that's something just to be aware of. Of course, you never know what's going to happen. You could get 5 super rares just by random luck. But yeah, so let's start with these. So you can see here, I've got this character and this character. And you can see the prices I actually paid for these. So kind of like, not massive difference, but a little bit of a difference. And you can probably tell this one's rarer. Yeah, this one has pretty much an axe, and this one has a lot going on. So it's got background, moon, axe, headband, scar, hair, and like a whatever this thing is, like a jumper, cardigan or something. I don't know what this thing is. But of course, you've got to work out, what does that mean? So let's just jump into these and have a quick look what's going on. Okay, so what you can do is you can go ahead. The first thing I will do is I'll just have a general look at them. I can probably tell this is rarer than the other one. Okay. Now that when things are very weird in terms of there's a lot of visuals going on, like these have a lot of visuals going on, it's obviously harder to work out from view the rarity. You can probably tell these 2 look a lot better than these, which is correct. They are actually rarer, because they have a lot more going on in the artwork. This one's quite, simple. I think this is I think it's in order, weirdly, the most unrare and all the way up to a rare. But you can see that the kind of quality does improve and the artwork does look cooler. And that's usually a tell. It doesn't guarantee, because there's many different characteristics within an NFT that kind of give it rarity points almost. Think of it, each attribute in the properties can be used with another. So you could have a 0.1%. This golden snowman is actually one of the rare ones. For example, you could have, I think this jumper is a bit of a rare one, but it also will compound if you have other rarities that are also good. And then on the flip side, if just the snowman was rare but everything else was common, so imagine the snowman was over here somewhere, then that will also, yes, that one attribute is rare, but because all the others are quite common, it will bring down the ranking. So it's kind of like a mishmash of all of the attributes, which then give you a ranking. It's kind of like points. You get certain points. That's how a lot of these rarity tools and these tools that I'll show you in a second work. They will actually just use those points, and they'll give you an overall rank. So rather than one thing being the be all and end all, it does apply if it's a super rare attribute. If it's like a 0, if basically there's only one that had that jumper, for example, it would be rare, even though the rest isn't. So it's not a guarantee, but it's just something to be aware of. So we'll go in and have a look at what's going on. So properties, this is the usual first thing I do. I'll just come in and I'll have a quick look what's going down on here. So you can see, eyes basic, fair enough. That's, high-ish, but the rest is pretty good. 1%, 5%, not amazing, but decent. And then obviously you can see these two, background and body 0.41. So you want to look at the ones that are like around 0 point something, under 1%. Even 1% isn't, amazing. If you had loads of 1%, yeah, the value can start to add up. So, these are things to bear in mind, that if you have decent, if you had a 0.9 on all of these, it would be a really decent rare one, because they're all working together to give you a rare. But if you have one at 0.01 and the rest were like 99%, it would still have some value, that rarity, but because the rest, it would bring it down, or it would raise the ranking. It wouldn't be as good. So it's good to get obviously a couple of sub 1%, and then obviously you can't try to get it, but it will just be automatic. And then nice to have some relatively low ones. Yeah, you can have something like this. It's not the end of the world. And then what I'll do is I like this. It's cool. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and look at what's the lowest value of a background. So let's click buy now. So we can see, so we've got 0.389 with this background. So someone might enjoy that background and want to get it. That's cool. So there's a lot more that you'll notice, and you'll notice how almost crappy yours sometimes looks, because the others look so much cooler. But we're not really worried about that right now. And then obviously high-end jacket, I would click on, and I would again click the buy now, and I'll have a look what's going on with there. 0.49. Okay. So that's kind of like the first. It's not even really, there's no guarantee that this is even close to the real value. It may be overvalued, this, or might be undervalued, because until someone buys it, anyone can list at any price. So I could list, if I was the first one to have this jacket and revealed, I could list it at 5 ETH, but no one would buy it because, well, they could, but they probably won't. You need, obviously, a lot of people to start selling. You get a good feel for where the market's kind of creating its value. And then what I'll do is, once I kind of go, okay, you know what, it's not crazy rare, like a 3 sale or something. Why is it not doing it? But I like, it looks cool. It's quite unique. And then what I'll do is I'll also look at the floor here. So the floor is 0.215. Just click buy now and we'll have a quick look at the floor. And what do you see? Quite easily, that a lot of the floor is very basic. Yeah, and obviously, yes, you've got a couple of attributes as we raise up, but they're relatively basic. Okay, so the more things going on for the PFP, the picture, the better. So okay, we've got that, and then that's something I like to do, and this depends on how early it is. So that like this is fully being revealed, and it was last night in the middle of the night, so that's why I wasn't on it. But if it's middle of the day and you're trying to work out what the value is, I always like to come in here and actually try to find something similar. Now it's very hard to see these photos, pictures, whatever, but I just like to get a feel for like, okay, so what sold for 2 ETH? Yeah, come in, 2 ETH. This is the kind of thing that I have no idea. See what if you look at this, I don't know why 2 ETH. What the hell? It's very possible that something like this is a character within the game itself. From this, they had a game. And so the value is not really based on the attributes, it's actually based on it resembling a character within the game. It's very possible. But that's just bizarre. That's got so much value. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You don't 100% know. And then I just like to have a quick browse, because I'm trying to get, that's cool. Trying to get a feel. Like if you look at these, yeah, 0.05, see? But then it's merged with these two. And actually, sometimes the attributes don't always like match up. For example, there's 2 demons here, so that gives it even more value to itself at 1.3, because they kind of like work together within the picture. And obviously you've got this, which is cool, black metal arms, like an octopus thing. This is 16%, this is 6. It doesn't matter. It's an overall perception. And then what I always like to do is I like to go and see up in here what the highest kind of sellers are for these. Now, obviously, right at the beginning when it reveals, you won't have massive amounts selling for high amounts because people still need to work it out. And then you can come in here, little Shiba dog, and you can, and the highest one will be here. But it doesn't mean that there won't be others through today, like the very first day. This sold for 3 ETH, so basically 5 ETH at the top, and you can start to go, okay, the bottom is 0.23 or whatever the floor is. The top is about 5 ETH for one of the best. It doesn't mean that these are the best, because obviously the highest rank ones may not have sold yet. So for example, this could sell later today. You never know. The sort of the cooler ones, but you can go ahead and see, again, 0.01, real solid, 0.41, 0. Yeah. Overall, it's got lots sort of making it rare. Yeah. Of course, really, you want to kind of like get into the nitty gritty and find out on like a software what ranking you've got. But I like to do this because I like to have a bit of a framework in mind, a little bit of an understanding of what I've actually got. But I like to kind of do my own little quick analysis just to get a feel for the potential value for this. And with the floor being what it is, once you've got all these bought up and the floor raises, because like really it's hard to kind of value something like this. What do you price this at? If I sell it for 1 ETH and it gets sold like instantly, I'm like, oh god, because there isn't anything similar potentially that's sold like this. So I don't really know the value. So in theory you could be like, well, I paid only 0.35, let's sell it for 0.7. I could probably sell that at 0.7 at some point in the next week. It could be that's the thing, it could be a day, it could be an hour. I don't really know. I know where the floor is, so anything like this could be close to the floor because it's just got an axe. So it won't be the floor because we've worked out the floor is pretty much just a basic character. But also, if you look into the properties of this one, you actually have green ears and an axe. So the green ears are actually rarer than an axe, but because they're having an MMO where you play a game, you'll be able to take your weapons and stuff into the game and your attire, anything on you. So I'll be able to take all this in the game as a character. So there's a little bit more added value there with having things rather than just a character. But again, characters will still be used in the game, so perfect. And so really I want to find out what's going on with these ranks. And so what I'll do is I went in to Rarity Tools, it's normally the first one, but they're not always going to be there, yeah? They're not always going to be there. So I just want to go ahead and grab some of these details. And I actually like going into Trait Sniffer, is that what it's called? Sniper? No, Trait Sniper. There is actually another one, Rarity Sniper, but we can go and type in beans up here. This is actually the app, so like this. And then actually what you can go ahead and do is you can sort by rank, confidence, and the problem is sometimes is that there's going to be, let's say there's going to be many that have a good rank. That is because what happens is the points that they allocate actually equal the same as another one. So when it says 1, well look how many there's 1. So all of these in theory are 1. And then it jumps to 11. So that could actually, so one of these is going to be ranked 10. But because it's given it the same score, it's more subjective. These, you can see them. They're all rare. I don't get how that's rare. Okay, somehow it's rare. Okay, whatever. You can see these are they stand out, yeah. And obviously as you go down, they're going to look sort of more general. It's always interesting to see, just to give you, it's just cool to see them, isn't it? I like reveals because it's a bit of fun. Like, I'll talk over that in a minute about when, I'll wait for a reveal or when I'll sell pre-reveal. But anyway, so then I will go ahead and I'll click ID and I'll go ahead and just find out what the ranking is. So we've got 1,318 out of a 10,000 collection. So it's not crazy rare, sub 1,000 or sub 500. Normally anything in the sub 500, is solid. This is still very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I could still double the floor probably, or more depending on, because people can buy it due to aesthetics if they enjoy it. So there's no perfect way to work that out. Another thing you can do here, now that I know it's 1,318, I can jump back. We wanted to get rid of that, so we can go back, and I want to probably have a look. Let's go back in here at what NFTs similar to that rank have sold. So what we want to do is we want to go here. We want to go to is that going to work? Yeah. So what did we work out the rank was? 1,300 or something. Let's just increase the limit. And what I'm looking to do is I'm just tracking the prices and if they're for sale. So again, rank 1,000. So the price currently for these is you can see here 0.63, 0.8 to the so you can get a feel for like where people are pricing them. Again, it doesn't mean that's going to sell for that. It could be undervalued. It could be overvalued. 0.58. I can't even remember what my rank was. Let's say it was 1,200, 1,100. And we're coming down here. So let's see if we can just find mine. And maybe it's not here. Maybe I've just. Oh no, we're not there yet. Next page. So you can just go down and look at the prices. 0.5, 0.1. It doesn't really matter. It's around this price, so we can get a feel. And so actually, the prices are quite like mishmash. 0.5, but then we got 0.6. Then we got it looks like around 0.5. Like I mentioned, the floor is 0.215. So that's about 2x of the current floor, give or take. And again, you could decide to price it a little higher because someone might decide that they enjoy that one over another one. That's just personal preference. So you could potentially be looking for someone like that. But then again, that will take a little longer to sell because you're going to have to wait for someone to specifically be happy to pay a little premium. And it could be like a 0.05, 0.1 extra premium on top of around 0. So it could be about 0.6, 0.59. Or if you wanted a quick flip and then to buy back in at the floor. Yeah, so you could decide to buy back in at the floor or buy 2 at the floor because you're more looking for this to be a long-term project and you prefer to have more. So there's not a real perfect. Oh, that's quite cool. This is clearly wrong. Hang on a sec. Loader high. Here we go. So you could potentially like look to snipe something that has a, someone might list at the floor basically or close to the floor that actually looks pretty cool compared to the others. So, the first one I might go is this one looks interesting. This one's got this one. Basically, it's got a little bit going for it rather than just a plain one. But of course, then the floor is raising, so you might think, I'm happy to sell and buy 2 at the floor. But you have to accept that they're going to be just general NFTs. So there's no perfect way to do it. Or you sell one, sell that NFT, and then you buy one at the floor and you keep the premium. So basically, you're kind of breaking even on that NFT as an option, so that you're basically playing in a way for free on that NFT, even though it's common because this floor was at 0.55 the other day. And what usually happens is this floor price will kind of drop because all the people that just get these general bean things will look to sell because they just don't like it. And they're like, you know what, I'm happy to sell and take a small loss and move on because they want a rare. People, it's more, a lot of people are doing this for fun and they like it. It's not like a business or a job. And so they're very much, looking to just get something cool, basically. And it doesn't mean, I think that even the kind of general ones will sell, at some point it should go up. So I'm actually going to hold for now because there's a lot, I just enjoy this. But if I had a super, super, super rare, I probably would sell. If I had one of the top 10, I would sell for like 3 ETH because there's still, you could go and get another one for 0.5 that still looks cool, like mine. And wouldn't you prefer to have 2.5 ETH that you've now got and now you've covered your costs and you're in profit? So that's what I would do with the super rare ones if you get them. On this kind of thing, yes, I could. If there was another project basically that I really wanted to buy, I could sell, buy the floor, and I could then spend the difference, let's say 0.25 that I get, on the project, another project I want. And in theory, that new project is kind of free because, well, it's not free, but you can see how you want. You can either allocate you can sell it and buy another one, and then that profit you can then use for something else, or you can say that original NFT is now free, or not this one, but the new one you buy, and then the money you've got back is just your return on that investment, like your break even, and then you can invest that in something else. You keep doing that. There's no perfect way to do it. I'm just quickly checking my battery's not going to run out while I'm recording this. No, it shouldn't. And yeah, that's kind of like how I go about sort of figuring out roughly what's going down. Again, on this, I'll actually talk over a different software, which is Rarity Sniper. This one, again, you have to work out what you like and enjoy, but these are the ranks that I got. 1, 2, 3, minus this one. The reason I actually added this one in, because someone paid. Is it this one? No. Someone paid. I basically like to see, when I see pre-reveal, when it's not revealed, people buying stuff. How do I get into this? People buying stuff for high amounts of money. So I saw this, someone paid 0.49 a good while ago. And I was like, why are they doing that? So what I do is I save the page because I want to see if there's a reason why they're doing it. And actually I checked the ranking and it's like 8,600. Yeah, sorry, for a second I thought it was rank 6, but it's not. Yeah, it's not, sorry. Yeah, rank. Cool. I was just double checking that. Score 1, yeah. And so I was just really curious to see if there was something they're doing to see the rare ones. Because usually you notice like bids. There wasn't actually a bid on this. There was a lighter. But yeah, I'm just curious to see like, is there some people that have like insider knowledge or something going on? But in this case, no. It just may have been, I don't know. Maybe there was a trade with a friend. They said they're going to buy it off their friend, or I don't know what's going on. You see that quite often. It's just an unknown thing. But you can see the ranks here that I've got. Obviously, with the more NFTs I've got, so I had 5. Ignore that one. These 5. I'm more likely to get a spread of different ranks. So this is 877, 52. Even though this looks cool, but this is my best one. And then yeah, battery saver. Then these are just general, but I'm happy to hold for these. And what usually happens is the floor will drop. So in this case, for this collection did not drop, which gives me a good insight that the floor was like 0.23 last night, because there was kind of an issue with not a glitch, but basically something happened to the project. So the value of the floor pre-reveal was 0.55. It dropped down, it went back up to 0.4, and it kind of came back down to 0.23 because a lot of people were getting giveaway beans and stuff, and that normally leads to people selling their extra beans to make some to cover the purchase of the original. There's lots of dynamics at play which interact and affect the floor, and so this floor hasn't really changed much. Obviously it may go down a little bit because people are trying to get rid of their plain beans, but once they've been cleared out, I see that the floor will then raise up, and this floor is relatively low right now. So even if it gets back to 0.4, even if it takes a couple of weeks or a month, then I could potentially sell this for 1 ETH. So I've got a choice, of course. How do I play this? Do I need the money? Is there projects that I want to invest in? So there's lots of dynamics at play as well in terms of my decision making, because I want to know what to do. If there's nothing that I want right now, or everything's way over inflated in price, or there's a project coming out in a couple of weeks that I want to mint or I want to buy or whatever, then right now I don't need to sell, considering that the floor is relatively low compared to what it's been already. And the reason the floor's probably gone down as of yesterday is because of what I mentioned. Plus there's a reveal, so that will probably bring the floor down to maybe 0.16, 0.17, not crazily different. For that small difference, I'm happy to hold. But in this case, the floor, so that was an interesting, basically it's just like data inputs that you're trying to use to figure out the plan of action. In this case, the floor was 0.13. Pre-reveal, the highest was 0.2. So this, you can see, has gone down, and that is normally what happens. So it doesn't, but I enjoy getting the reveal. But if this, for example, got up to 0.5 pre-reveal, I'd probably sell all of them, wait till now, and buy back in at the floor. That's usually what I would like to do. The reason is because you can get something really nice for 0.2. But if I saw pre-reveal, it went really nice, up 3, 4, 5x. I know at reveal it's probably going to drop. So there's a couple of projects that have done that, and I haven't sold. but that's good because it gave me the understanding. So there was like a Landau or something that went from 0. I bought it at 0.1, like a Genesis, like the best one. It went up to 0.6, and I didn't sell, and I sold at 0.3, and now they're like 0.25 for the Genesis. So I could just, in theory, if this kept going up, 0.2 is still a good price. It was about 2x, but it wasn't crazy enough for me to want to sort of, I enjoy looking at the rarities, and with 5, I'm probably going to get a spread. And in theory, the 5 is probably going to balance out to be about 0.13 floor, if you get what I mean. So I would sell these for floor, this a little bit higher, this a little bit higher, and this one for like 0.4, for example. You get what I mean? And that would balance out to be about 0.12 or 0, basically what it was pre-reveal. But if it did obviously go, again, I'm just sort of repeating myself, it did go way higher. I keep saying that, doesn't make any sense, not very good English. To like 0.5, I could make 2.5 ETH minus fees, wait, and then still get some pretty cool ones, because most of the time the floor will drop. On this, it hasn't. So obviously I've got to assess a little bit, like what happened. And the reason is because pre-reveal, a lot of people were selling their bonus beans. So actually this was 0.4 a couple of days ago. And usually if I want to sell, it will be in the build up to the reveal. So, but in this case, the floor didn't, on these didn't actually, was like pretty standard. It didn't really do anything. So I didn't look to sell because I was happy to play that side of the coin. But if it did pump on the way to pre-reveal, so like yesterday basically before it revealed, then what I would do is I would then probably sell and buy back in. If it was like at 0.35 or whatever, I would assess it then. If before that it got to 0.5, I would have sold. But most of the time on the build up to the reveal, it goes up, and then the reason that the floor drops is because everyone wants to get rid of their commons. So the floor drops. They want to get rid of their standard beans, whatever, or their kind of crappy ones, because they think it's crappy, and that's basically the reason. And yeah, so that's kind of my thought process around it all. And the reason I'm keeping it like these, there's a metaverse game. Cool. Except you're getting airdrops accessories for holding them and all that. So there's like utility. These, you can match them up with your avatars and vehicles, these little pads of the vehicles. There's the game coming out. So of course, at some point, if the value really went up, I would sell. Because everything goes up and down over time. Yes, you may miss out on opportunities as well. Like I got in at 0.11 on NFT Worlds, and it's 0.0. I got in 0.11. It's 6.3. So it may be that it never goes back down to that, but overall most things do. So just playing those probability games, and definitely in a bull market, of course, you may not get another opportunity to buy back in. But just wait for the bear market to come. And these cycles seem to take 3 months at the moment. They're not years. Like the crypto market is years to get back in sometimes. So you're waiting for 1.5 to 2 years to buy back in at your ideal price. In the NFT space, it seems that the cycles are faster because there's less liquidity, less money. So it's easier to flush out weak hands and all that kind of thing. More retail investors. That will also mature with time, and the NFT space will change rapidly over time. Like it's very newish, so that's obviously something to bear in mind. But it doesn't mean that you can't get in later, or if you can never get back in, that's fine, because there's plenty of similar projects, better projects that might come out, or anything else. There's so much going on that it's not always, you've still made profit potentially on whatever your actions were, and that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day, isn't it? Yes, you may miss out on upsides like this, but you may also, you got to realize that if you kept this and it went to 0, you've got to decide what's going down on that. And also, if you kept this, you may miss out on something else that you can make profit on. So there's all these different dynamics at play. So I'm going to leave the video there. It's a bit of a long one, but hopefully you got some pretty interesting insight into how I see things. Of course, there's no one way fits all. Everyone has their own strategy, and it's good to try different things out because it gives you a good feel for what sits well with you. Do you want to hold things for ages and make very, make decent gains, crazy gains, but very not that often, because you don't know, because a lot of things won't go to like 100x, will they? Most things will just do a little bit. So we got to decide, like, do you take small, lots of profits, but not that often, or do you happy to take smaller profits more often and have a little bit more liquidity and basically be more responsive to the market, and all those things. So gonna leave the video there. Hope you enjoyed it. It helps you a little bit more of an insight into how I do that side of things. Again, not financial advice, not financial advisor, but all good. And I'll see you all on the next video. Bye.